Hello guys and welcome back to this Darwin setup guide. In this second part we're finally going to talk about the pedal, and inside here, you've guessed it, is a Darwin FTW. As a little disclaimer for this whole setup guide series, I'll stick with the single pedal because basically a double pedal and the middle pedal basically consists out of two little bit modified single pedals, so you're able to do all the adjustments and all the things I show you with the single pedals also on the double and middle pedal easily just by copying the setups. And that's it. If you still have any questions by now about the specifics about double or middle pedal, just feel free to contact me, write me an email, and I hopefully should be able to answer them. With that being said, I think let's have a look. So every Darwin single, double pedal, hi-hats and so on comes with this backpack, and depending on the version of the pedal, this in the inside looks a little bit different. So for the single pedal, I usually like to have it this way. A double pedal needs a little bit more space and the middle pedal needs a little bit more space on top. But with that being said, you're also not forced to fold the Darwin as it's shown here every time. You're also able to fit a double pedal, a single pedal, and a middle pedal unfolded into this backpack just by removing this little extra compartments. Basically these compartments are completely customizable depending on how you need them. So you don't need to worry about that because I frequently get questions if you're just able to fit the pedal inside here folded. No, you can fit it inside however you want. If you need some extra space, fold it and put some other stuff aside. If you don't, just remove the beta and put it in as probably shown in on the photos on my homepage. I guess I'll put the link to this general information page about the Darwins in the description as well. So besides the single pedal, in this case, there's also a little box that's called Tools and Spares in this rucksack, and that contains your more or less obsolete warranty card with some spare screws and some Allen keys in case you want to do anything with that. Some spare felt stickers in case, depending on the surface, this felt wears a little bit and you can just replace it right away. If you do need some more of them, just let me know. Then there is some spare springs, a regular and a heavy spare spring, and also heavy springs, depending on if it's a single, double or middle pedal, one or two of these. And last but not least, there are also some Velcro straps, which are not these standard Velcros that get covered with dirt and hair within 2 minutes. They're a little bit different and last way longer, which is pretty cool. So the pedal in general comes with these rubber supports, which gives you a decent grip on various surfaces. But if you feel the need to get an extra grip, you can also just put in these retractable spikes, but also you can place these Velcro straps on the pedal. I know it from various guys who don't like the pedal to be sticky on the carpet all the time, so I prefer to have it set up just with the rubber supports, which are usually all you need with all the various surfaces. But you can additionally just put these Velcro straps on the base plate. I like to put one here and the other one here. In this little part, or in this little section of the Darwin setup guide, I'd just like to show you how to fold and unfold the pedal, because it looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is. So the whole folding mechanism works just by, I just removed the main pillar from the base plate and that's it. Besides that, there is a little adapter part that carries the main pillar and supports it while transported on the base plate. It's absolutely no rocket science, so I think without talking that much, I'll just show you how it's done. So very first step, obviously, remove the Velcro straps. These cutouts are just necessary for the transportation, or I like to have these cutouts in order to have the Velcro always on the same position. But to play the pedal, obviously we don't need that, so we can remove it. And the next step, depending on if the pedal is set up with the direct drive or the strap drive, you have more or less some flexibility. So with the strap drive, you're pretty flexible. So I just like to pull it off this adapter block and put it to the side. So this is the adapter block that carries the main pillar and also the beta. This beta is just clipped in here. And also there is a hole in the middle which is a little bit thicker than these holes on the side. Actually, it's a 1/4 inch or 6.4 millimeter hole that fits every other beater you maybe like to use for now and then. Because this cutout on the side is supposed to be combined with a beater that uses a 6 millimeter shaft like the stock Darwin beater does. So you can just unclip that, and that's it. So in order to get the main pillar on the base plate, you just need to loosen these 3 screws a little bit, because I like to finger tighten them in order to prevent them from getting lost. And then you, depending on if it's the strap or the direct drive, with the direct drive I recommend to just flip it over and push it on this way. With the strap drive you have a little bit more flexibility, and you're just able to put it on this adapter block like this. Then I like to tighten these screws on one side. At the moment I just like to use a very generic drum key. A custom Darwin drum key is in progress and should be available within 4 to 5 weeks by the time this video comes out. So I'll keep you updated about that for sure. If you do have a little bit of a hard time accessing this lower screw here, you can just basically remove it. It's a little bit of an extra safety protection thing, but for the basic construction it is not necessary. It's all enough by just tightening these 2 screws, one on the left, one on the right, and then you're good to go. So just tighten the screws, and basically that's it. The last thing we need is our beater. The whole pedal is basically pre-set up, if you want to call it that way, with my most generic favorite easy to play setup. And also the beater comes with this beater memory lock installed, so you really just need to loosen the screw over here, put the beater inside, and the beater automatically locks on its height and on the rotation in order to reach this more or less generic setting. And yeah, that's it. The pedal basically is good to go. So to make it a little bit easier, or to show you how the pedal gets folded, I think let's do that again and start with the opposite side. Remove the beater in the first place, and I usually really like to just finger tighten the screw again. I don't know, it's a thing that has developed over time for me. Then I take the adapter block. The first 5 times probably this clip is a little bit tough to press in, because the fitting is very, very tight. So I like to just put it on the edge, and then I like to just clip the beater in and push it a little bit into this hole over here, so it's protected all the way. Put it aside again. Then I like to loosen, or I need to loosen, the screws over here. Both of them, and the third one as well. The screws on the top fit in a little socket, so you need to open them about 3 turns in order to remove the main pillar. It's also a little additional safety feature I think was more or less necessary, I guess. So after that you're once again able to just remove the main pillar. Once again, with the direct drive I recommend to just put it straight up and flip it over that way. With the strap, once again, you're a little bit more on the flexible side. Put it aside. I always like to finger tighten them back in. Then you just need to take your adapter plate with the beater already pre-installed. I like to line up this adapter plate with the top section of the footboard, let's say it that way. It's only possible, as a disclaimer, with the strap drive, because with the direct drive, depending on your height setting, the distance from the cam down to the, or from this access point down to the cam point is always fixed. So you probably have the adapter block somewhere here or somewhere here. Also, depending on your hook clamp setting, if it's set up as a double or single pedal, this footboard might go a little bit lower, because it doesn't touch the hook, touches the hook clamp as it does now. But besides that, I just thought it's worth mentioning, because it's not wrong or right, depending on, it just depends on how your hook clamp is set up, so don't worry about that. And the last thing is just to clip in the main pillar. This top part has a little cutout that fits into this cutout over here, where the sticker is. So I usually like to place it roughly over the sticker, and then I just push it in, and that's it, because this part on the back carries the main pillar on the sides and supports it. And this setup is already very, very stable and probably good to go. To keep everything in place, I just like to take my Velcro strap, put it into these cutouts again, and basically tighten it. One thing I like to make sure is to let the Velcro strap fit into these cutouts of the adapter block, just that everything is on its place, and that's it. Now you're able to put it back into the most compact version of your rucksack, backpack. So if that's done, you're probably good to go to travel with your paddle. If you have any questions by now, as usual, feel free to contact me, write me an email, and I'll hopefully be able to answer your questions as soon as possible. Until then, I guess I'll see you in part 3.